Now we shift to the NFC, and this is the one everybody had circled, not just because it's Championship Sunday, but because it's division rivals, it's Game 3, and the first two games basically told us these teams are the same level right now. And I'm talking about the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Lumen Field to take on the Seattle Seahawks, NFC Championship game. And this is the most expected matchup in the NFC because it's been building all season. The Rams are trying to get back to the Super Bowl stage they already been on. Remember, they reached it and won it in the 2021 season. The Seahawks, this feels like the moment where they're trying to turn the page from good story into complete team and prove this run is about more than a hot stretch. And if you want the frame of reference here, you already know what it is. Week 11 and 16, two games that were tight, two games that felt like heavyweight rounds. And the wild part is the teams look completely different in each one. The first one was a grind, turnovers, pressure, and a narrow, painful Seattle loss. The second was chaos. Seattle pulls off a fantastic comeback, the kind of comeback that changes a season, and they get revenge. And now we got the tiebreaker with the highest stakes possible. But here's how even these teams were head-to-head. The Rams in the two matchups, 58 points, 830 yards combined. Seahawks in the two matchups, 57 points and 829 yards combined. That's basically identical. That's 1 yard, 1 point, 1 bounce. And historically, this is rare territory. This is the third instance in NFL history where teams that split a regular season series with a combined margin of 1 point or fewer met in the conference championship game. The interesting take here is that the two prior times, the winner won by double digits, but the vibe here, I don't think it's going down like that. Now, here's why this matchup feels so dangerous. It's not just a rivalry game. It's a clash of identities. The Rams are built to score, built to explode, built to stress you vertically and force you to defend the whole field. Seattle is built to suffocate, built to pressure you without selling out, and built to make you play perfect football for 60 minutes. You can't talk about this game without talking about the two quarterbacks because both have a pressure narrative hanging over them. Matthew Stafford has been capable of looking unstoppable in this matchup. He put up 457 passing yards in Week 16, but he also put up 130 in Week 11. That's a massive swing, and in the playoffs, the key stat is brutal. Stafford has the lowest passer rating under pressure at 24.8 of any quarterback participating in his 2025 playoffs. That is a flashing red light going into Seattle because Seattle's whole identity is built on affecting the quarterback. On the other side, Sam Darnold has been riding a wave with his team, but he comes into this matchup with his own pressure story. He leads the NFL in takeaways at 20, and he has a history of unraveling when heat gets home. Plus, his history against the Rams specifically has been rough. Since 2024, he's 1-3 against LA with 8 giveaways in that span, the most by any quarterback versus any single opponent in the playoffs. So if you're Seattle, the mission is don't let this become a game where Darnold has to be the hero for 60 minutes. That's the setup. Now let's get into the 3 keys that will decide this game and who goes to Santa Clara. Key number 1 is pressure is the name of the game. Both teams need it. Seattle's defense is built on something that doesn't even feel fair. They create pressure at an elite rate without blitzing much. Seattle owns the 4th highest pressure rate at 38.9% of dropbacks, while blitzing at an 8th lowest frequency at 23.1% of snaps. That means they're getting home with 4. They're not exposing the back end, and they're still forcing quarterbacks into mistakes. And it's not just one guy. You won't find one Seahawk sitting at the very top of the pressure leaderboard, but they've got 5 players with 40-plus pressures, and that's what makes it feel relentless. It's waves. Now apply that to Stafford. In this postseason, Stafford is 6 of 20 under pressure, 89 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. His passer rating under pressure is 24.8. That's the lowest among playoff quarterbacks, and it's the one thing the Rams have to solve because if Stafford is uncomfortable, shrinks the Rams' offense and makes everything harder. Now you flip it to Sam Darnold. He's the NFL leader in takeaways with 20. 11 of those came under pressure, 6 interceptions, 5 fumbles lost. 7.2% of his pressure dropbacks became a giveaway. So this game is basically a pressure auction. Who can heat up the quarterback without breaking the covers behind? And the Rams have a huge psychological edge here. Darnold's history versus the Rams since 2024. He's coughed it up 8 giveaways against LA. Again, most by any quarterback versus any single opponent in that span. If the Rams can get early pressure, they can put that doubt back into his head. Now, my second key in this one is, can Seattle survive without Zach Charbonnet and keep the offense balanced? Seattle's defense gets the shine, and they deserve it, but the run game has been quietly essential to why this team is here. Around week 10, it started to turn, and from week 16 onward, it has looked like a real identity. 172.3 rushing yards per game, 2 rushing TDs per game, 9 first downs generated via runs. That's not nice to have. That's a weapon that controls games. But now they lose half of the two-headed monster, and Zach Charbonnet goes down with an ACL injury in a divisional round win over the San Francisco 49ers. So the question becomes, can Kenneth Walker III carry the load and keep Seattle out of obvious passing situations? Walker has been productive against the Rams. He's had 100-plus scrimmage yards in each of the last 3 games versus LA, including 164 in the Week 16 win. So the production is there. But the challenge increases when defenses know they don't have to split attention across 2 backs the same way. If Seattle can't establish the ground game, it shifts the weight to Darnold, and that's where this matchup gets dangerous because the Rams can hunt him with pressure. Seattle wants balance. Seattle wants to keep the playbook open. Seattle wants to avoid a 3rd and long script where Darnold is reading the whole field with bodies in his lap. Walker's role here is massive. Now, my key number 3 is experience versus momentum, McVay's resume against Seattle's streak. This is where it gets spicy because it's not just players, it's the sideline too. You've got 2 of the youngest coaches in the league, but their playoff histories are completely different. Sean McVay has been here a lot since being hired in 2017. He has 92 wins. He's already tied with Don Shula for the most playoff wins by a coach under 45 at 10. He's guided the Rams to 2 Super Bowls with 1 win, and Sunday is his 16th playoff game as a head coach. That matters because he's seen every version of playoff pressure there is. Mike McDonald over here is in just his 2nd season as a Seahawks head coach, and he coached his first playoff game as a head coach last week. Now he's stepping into a conference championship with everything on the line. If Seattle wins, he becomes the 4th youngest coach to lead a team to a Super Bowl, a category McVay already owns real estate in. So what matters more, the experience and the track record, or the teams playing the best football right now? Because Seattle's current trajectory is the headline. They've won 8 straight, and their defense looks like it's peaking at exactly the right time. But the Rams bring the counter. Stafford's pedigree, McVay's experience, and an offense that can change the game with a handoff or an explosive moment. And there's more statistical tug of war in this matchup that tells you how hard it is. Now, the Rams average 8.9 air yards per attempt. That's the highest in the league. But the Seahawks allow 4.7 air yards per attempt. That's the lowest in the league. So the Rams want shot plays. Seattle is built to erase them. Also, keep an eye on the Rams tight ends and rollout game. Stafford had a league-high 74 design rollout attempts, and that's why a guy like Kobe Parkinson can matter. He already has 90 receiving yards and a touchdown in the Rams' 2 playoff wins. Now, my takeaway in this one is this feels like a one mistake decides it type of game. Both teams can win. Both teams are built to make you uncomfortable. But if I'm asking myself who I trust to handle chaos late, I trust the quarterback who has already done it on the biggest stage and the coach who's navigated this moment multiple times. My pick here is the Rams. And I'm taking the Rams because I believe they can generate enough pressure on Darnold to tilt the game. And I'm betting Stafford makes 1 or 2 legacy throws you need in a conference championship, especially in a game this tight.